Welcome back, everyone. It's Peter Tragos, the lawyer you know, and today we're bringing you a Deshaun Watson update. And for those of you that have been around since the beginning, you may remember that this case was one of the early videos to get a couple thousand views for us, and it was very exciting. And it holds a special place in our heart because it crosses over the civil justice system and the criminal justice system. There have been civil lawsuits filed against Deshaun Watson for sexual abuse, and there is a criminal investigation ongoing surrounding those charges. This case also has a couple of lawyers that are not shy in front of the media and always give us some good quotes to discuss, and we will talk about some of those today on this video. So if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe to our page so you can keep getting the content that we're bringing in these videos, including Deshaun Watson. This week is a big step in Deshaun Watson's case, both criminally and civilly, as the prosecutors are bringing the case in front of the grand jury to determine whether or not there is probable cause to indict Deshaun Watson on criminal charges. And it seems at this time that the crime they're bringing in front of the grand jury is indecent assault, not sexual assault. Sexual assault is a second-degree felony, a much more serious crime. This is kind of like a lesser included for those of you that have followed other cases and have seen the lesser includeds explained at trial. Indecent assault in Texas is a Class A misdemeanor, aka a first-degree misdemeanor, the most serious misdemeanor, which is punishable by up to 1 year in jail and up to a $4,000 fine. What indecent assault is without the other person's consent and with intent to arouse or gratify the sexual desire of any person. That person touches the anus, breast, or any part of the genitals of another person, touches another person with any of those parts of your body, exposes or attempts to expose any of those parts of your body or any of your private parts or genitalia, or causes another person to come into contact with your bodily fluids, whether it's blood or semen or whatever. So that exact statute for indecent assault seems to fit exactly what we've heard from these victims and from the civil lawsuits filed by their lawyer, Tony Busby. So the grand jury is going to hear if these actions and facts rise to a criminal level. So, as I said, Rusty Hardin, Deshaun Watson's lawyer, is never shy in front of the media, and we've got some quotes to talk about from him. He says, "The free agency time is around the corner, and we've wanted this decision to be made by then, and it looks like they're going to, and I'm welcoming it." What he's talking about is NFL free agency. You may have seen quarterbacks signed, like Aaron Rodgers, to $200 million deals, or Russell Wilson traded from one team to another. Both of those things are something Deshaun Watson is looking for in his career, to get traded and to sign a new big deal. But what's holding that up are these civil lawsuits and this criminal investigation. Hardin says, "There's never been any crime here, no matter if you call it indecent assault or anything else. These are civil matters that belong in the civil courts." So some may say he's admitting there may be some civil liability, but in reality, he's attacking the hurdle in front of him, and that big hurdle is this grand jury and the criminal investigation. So he's saying he's not nervous. He doesn't think there's going to be any criminal charges. He thinks the grand jury is not going to indict Deshaun Watson on this indecent assault charge. What I want to know in the comments is if you think, based on what we've heard, and you may have to go back and listen to some of the other videos to get all the facts. I don't have time to recap them right now, but it's dealing with Deshaun Watson and the massage therapists and what happened when they were giving him massages. If you think those facts rise to the statute and the definition I just read for indecent assault, I want you to put in the comments indecent assault. If you think they are civil matters only and not criminal, put civil matters in the comments, because I want to know, if you were the grand jury, because it could be people just like you watching this video, what would you decide? What would you determine? Now, this isn't really fair. We're not hearing all the facts. We're not hearing exactly what the evidence is. It's just kind of a fun poll to see, based on what we know, whether or not you think that's indecent assault. It is not an actual jury, obviously, because there's not sworn testimony and evidence in front of you. I get it. So we hear about what's happening on the criminal side, and we're going to find out whether criminal charges are coming or not very soon. But how does this affect the civil case? And what about those civil matters that Rusty Hardin discussed? Well, interestingly enough, the same day as the grand jury proceedings are taking place this week, Deshaun Watson is getting deposed by Tony Busby in the civil case. So his civil deposition is taking place the same day as his grand jury investigation or decision is going to be made. Now, What does Rusty Hardin think about that? Rusty Hardin said, "We're not going to answer questions until the grand jury is completed." Rusty Hardin has come out and said that he has advised Deshaun Watson to plead the fifth until the grand jury proceedings are done, and that will not change. Rusty Hardin attempted to delay or continue this deposition for Deshaun Watson until after the grand jury's decision. Tony Buzbee said no. Turns out Tony Buzbee won the hearing and the argument and is able to take Deshaun Watson's deposition on the same day. To me, it doesn't make much sense, but Tony Buzbee probably wants to lock in Deshaun Watson taking the Fifth Amendment in a civil deposition, as we've talked about before, because that can be used against Deshaun Watson or as certain kinds of admissions in certain civil cases. Because he is not answering the questions. He is not giving his side of the story. And what does Rusty Hardin say about that? Well, here's another quote. "Neither I or any lawyer in the free world will allow their client to give testimony in a civil case while those same issues are being heard by a grand jury. Tony Buzbee didn't want to delay. It's unfortunate. Deshaun will be glad to testify when I advise him to do so." So there's some important factors here. I agree with Rusty Hardin. I would never advise Deshaun Watson to answer these questions while an active criminal investigation is going on. However, double jeopardy does not attach just from a grand jury investigation. So Deshaun Watson's statements in future depositions could still potentially be incriminating. But Rusty Hardin at the end of this quote says Deshaun Watson will be glad to testify when I advise him to. He's making it clear that he's advising Deshaun Watson not to testify, so Rusty Hardin is taking one for the team because he wants everybody to know Deshaun Watson wants to tell his story. He wants to tell his story. He wants to explain his innocence, but Rusty Hardin, for legal reasons, is telling him not to at this time. But when will that change? And I wonder if that's what Tony Buzbee argued at the hearing, to not delay this, because he says, "Judge, just because this grand jury doesn't bring criminal charges doesn't mean future criminal charges couldn't come, and it doesn't mean Deshaun Watson couldn't plead the fifth in future depositions." Now, if I was the plaintiff's lawyer, if I was Tony Buzbee, I would have even argued, I'd say, "Judge, if Rusty Hardin tells us right now and Deshaun Watson waives his Fifth Amendment right for any future deposition past this grand jury hearing, then I'll delay it." But my guess is Rusty Hardin and Deshaun Watson didn't do that. Therefore, the judge said, "Why am I going to delay it if you can just do the same thing a few months from now?" Defense attorneys in civil cases do that all the time. They ask us for extensions just to object to questions. They ask us to delay depos just to plead the fifth or not answer the questions we have. And this judge probably did the right thing in not delaying it unless that delay was going to ensure justice and an open deposition. It is absolutely Deshaun Watson's right to take the fifth. Absolutely, and I would never step on that. But there's no reason to delay this deposition if he's just going to plead the fifth in the future. If he's going to plead the fifth, we might as well get it over with now and keep the civil case moving. However, on Deshaun Watson's front, if he plans to fight this civil case and win, he is probably going to need to tell his side of the story. Because without his side of the story, if he just pleads the fifth, the jury gets to hear that he gets to plead the fifth in order to not say something that might potentially incriminate him. What do you think a jury is going to think about that? And then they're going to hear all the stories and sworn testimony and evidence of all these victims saying, the 20 plus victims saying what Deshaun Watson did. The jury will have almost no choice but to rule against Deshaun Watson in that case because there will be no evidence in support of him, at least coming from his own mouth. And he was the only one there with these massage therapists. Now, there may be text messages and DMs and things that we've spoken about before, but if Deshaun Watson does not explain what happened in these interactions in the civil case, I think it's going to be very difficult for him to win. However, you're seeing how a criminal investigation can seriously complicate the civil case and how civil lawyers like Tony Buzbee can actually use it to their advantage at times. And Rusty Hardin, I'm sure, will use it to his advantage at times. I'm sure he's delayed the case because of the criminal case. So we're seeing two lawyers maneuver through this process civilly and criminally. We're seeing them talk about it in the media. And we're seeing Deshaun Watson's job, the NFL and free agency, come into play. And this happens to everyday people as well, where their jobs are affected. Their licenses, medical licenses, legal licenses, whatever it may be, can be affected by criminal investigations and civil lawsuits. We're just seeing it on a larger scale with a famous person like Deshaun Watson. So let me know in the comments what you think and how you feel about this case. And if you have any questions at all, I'd love to answer them. We're going to continue following it, and we'll see what the grand jury says on Friday. But for now, that's all we've got. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching this episode of The Lawyer You Know. If If you like this content, please share it with your friends. Make sure you subscribe to our page and like our videos. If you want some interaction, get in the comments and we'll be sure to get back to you. If you want to know any more information about our firm or this page, you can find out in the description or visit tragoslaw.com. We post multiple times throughout the week, so make sure you hit that bell so you can get the notification and not miss out on the next episode.